This is going to be another video in the Rambo hollow handle survival knife series. This time we're going to take a look at a Russian Rambo knife from Kizlyar Supreme. I promise I'll lose the cheesy accent. But that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me here. We're going to call this the last light video productions, I think, because I've seen, as it's starting to get a little darker here, this is mid-November here in Georgia, and not only is it getting darker earlier, but the weather has dropped. The temperature has dropped considerably. Like a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like it was 90. Now it's probably in the 40s, which gives me an opportunity to wear this extremely stylish hat my kids say is an old man hat. But I like it, and it keeps my noggin warm. So anyway, I'll try to dispense with much of the rambling. So we looked at a Kizlyar Supreme knife a couple of 3 years ago on the channel. And as I was researching additional knives to look at for the hollow handle knife series, the Rambo knife series, which I kind of got started, just kind of spurred me to do it from the latest and hopefully last Rambo movie. I took a look at this Kizlyar Supreme when I found it, and I remember kind of glancing at it before. Still available. They've actually made a couple of improvements over the original one. Seems like a really solid system, and so I reached out to the folks that import these, and they were kind enough to send me one so I could check it out and test it and show it to you. So we're going to do that right after this word from one of our sponsors. This video is sponsored by my friends at Sportsman's Guide, where I've been a Buyers Club member for several years now. Buyers Club members get free shipping on orders over 49 bucks, including ammo. And by the way, they have one of the best selections of military surplus gear anywhere I've found. So I really appreciate Sportsman's Guide being a channel sponsor, and I really encourage you to go check them out. I think you'll be glad you did. Okay, we're back. So without a lot of rambling, because it is really about to get dark, thought I would take you down to the old stump top. We'll talk about the specs of this knife. Take a look at the construction, because I think this has the potential to be a pretty strong, pretty strong way of making one of these kind of knives. And then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff. And you know we're going to have to check the balance, so stay tuned for that. This is the Kizlyar Supreme. This is the Survivalist X knife. This one is in D2 steel. It's also available in AUS 8. Let's talk about the specs real quick, and then I'll show you the construction, and we'll get to doing some knife stuff. So, first of all, this particular knife features a 7 1/4 inch blade of D2 black titanium coated steel, and that is, for those of you still stuck in that old metric system, that's 185 millimeters long. Has an overall length of 12 3/8 inch, give or take, about 315 millimeters, and then the thickness is about 3/16 of an inch, or 4.9 millimeters thick. It is I would call this a saber grind. As you can see, it's not a full flat grind, but it's not a hollow grind either. The knife weighs, with included a little survival kit in the handle, 13.3 ounces or 377 grams. And then it comes with a MOLLE compatible nylon sheath, pretty nice sheath with a couple of snap closures here, and MOLLE compatible there, a little leg lanyard, and then it's got the both a sewn-in pass-through belt loop and the snap-on belt loop, and a plastic liner that you can just put the knife in like so. And this liner is ambidextrous, so it doesn't matter which way you put it, it's going to work okay. It does have a little bit of a larger finger guard on here. It's got a couple of lashing points that you can use this thing to lash it as a spear or whatever. Now the handle is, you can see it's a round knurled handle. There's a couple of little bolts here on both sides, and that they are what attach the blade to the handle, and the blade sticks down to about right here, so it extends about 1.5 inches into there. This handle, by the way, is made of Dural, and I had to look that up and see what it was, and here's what it said when I looked it up on the old Wikipedia. It's a high-strength, low-weight alloy of aluminum, copper, and magnesium that has the mechanical properties as good or better than low-carbon steel. Then it has a hollow handle. Got a cap on the end of it, with a little lanyard ring here. You can put a lanyard on it or whatever. This unscrews here. There's a little O-ring right there. And then this thing comes with the survival kit, so to speak. It's just a little plastic tube, which is this is the size of the cavity in there. So it fits all the way down to the bottom. It fits in there really good. And that's exactly how deep that cavity is, about like that. So there's a little bit of a spacer, and then the bottom of the blade is about right there. So down inside there, you can kind of see where the tang sticks in. It's a very, very well machined little slot there. And there's like a little steel sleeve around it also, which gives it, I would think, a little more rigidity. We'll take a look at the survival kit in just a minute, and then we'll do some knife stuff. But I wanted to show you a couple more features on here just to make sure we're on the same page. So it has a false edge up here. I suppose you could sharpen that, but it's really not sharp. And this little thing here is actually designed for, it's kind of sharp on this side. It's almost a chisel point, not quite. They said that is designed for chopping bone and really hard stuff, so you don't take a chance on damaging your primary edge, which I think is pretty cool. They also offer these things in a version with a little serration here, a little bit of jimping here. Other than that, that's about it. Sort of a almost spear point design. So let's get my rear end off the stump here. We'll take a look at the survival kit real quick, and then we'll get to doing some knife stuff. Okay, so we're calling this a survival kit. Might be a little ambitious, but it is definitely it's got some, looks like some pretty useful stuff in it. We'll just open that up, put it in and see what else got in. So it's got a Band-Aid here, which, you know, I guess it can't hurt to have a Band-Aid. Then it has some, looks like a little cotton, some kind of little twine, or some kind of small cordage here that could come in handy. Something, there's some needles in there. Might be a couple of sail needles in that package there. Let's just rip it open. I hate to open it because once I take this twine off here, it's not coming back off. It's not going back on, but for you, I'll do it. Okay, 2 little scalpel blades. So just extra little scalpel blades in there. Take one of them out. There it is. Can you see that? So if you had to do some skinning or some carving, you could really do some fine stuff. Maybe if you're, you know, you're skinning mice or something, Larry Roberts. Pretty good sized needle there. Come in handy with a nice, I like the eye on that needle, because if you're in a survival situation, you know, you're not going to be able to, can you see that? Focus, grasshopper. You're not going to be able to thread a little tiny needle. So then there's another slightly smaller needle here. So pretty cool there. And 2 scalpel blades. There's some brass wire here you could use to make a little snare or something. A safety pin. A very small fishing kit with some fishing line, a couple of sinkers, and 3 little hooks in there. A couple small ones and a little bit bigger one. And then finally, there are 3 of these stormproof type matches with a striker there. And we might as well just see how well they strike, right? I mean, that thing is pretty sharp. I know it's not cold, but I'm from Georgia, and it's cold to me right now. So here we go. We'll lay the striker here. We've got this stormproof style match. Let's just see how well it works. Let's see what the Russian version is, because these knives are from Russia, as I said at the very beginning. There it goes. And it's burning pretty good. So, yeah, not bad. Pretty good. All right, so there's that. Let me put all the stuff back into here, and then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff. Okay, believe it or not, I was able to get it all back in there without poking a needle through my finger, which is pretty good. So we're going to put that back in the handle just for kicks. Put the handle back on, cap back on. And let's just see how well this thing does some knife stuff now. So first, I think we'll do some chopping. It's got a little chopping thing on here, so we'll try some chopping. Do a little bit of batoning, because we've done that with the other knives. And then we'll do some carving, see, because I think it's got a really good edge on it. See about maybe trying to get a little fire going, and then we'll check the balance of this thing. Okay, so obviously it's not an axe, and it is a 2-piece handle, but we're going to give it a whack here. We've got some cedar here, so we're going to just kind of try to chop through that and see what happens. We're using first we'll try using the chopping side of the knife. And it's not really a sharp edge. It's more for just to save your edge. It's got almost sharpness, but not quite. this round handle wants to slip in my hands and go sideways and twist a little bit. I'm noticing that. But if you had to chop something, I suppose you could. See, it chops better this way, I think. So now we'll try the actual edge. This D2 steel is pretty stinking tough. Like I said, okay, wow, look at that. So, as I was saying, you probably couldn't hear me because I was chopping, but the D2 steel, I chose it because I think it holds the edge a lot better. It's a harder steel. It's a tool steel. It's going to be a little harder to sharpen in the field, certainly, than the AUS 8. The AUS 8 has the advantage of being easier to sharpen and a little less expensive, but I like the fact that this thing will hold an edge, and it's really good strong steel. So, don't really have anything super hard, super big to baton, but we'll just split this open a little bit, see if we can get us something to carve some feathers out of. See how that goes. I mean, this is not big, but this is about the size of everything else we baton. So, and mostly I just want to bang on this thing a little bit and see if it's going to cause a problem with the handle. And honestly, I don't expect it to, because this thing, it just feels really solid. And in a like open, quote, survival situation, you're not going to be trying to split firewood, a log anyway. It's mostly about getting some kindling or making some traps or splitting something down. So anyway, let's try the see how this thing carves some feathers. What a nice, look at that. Man, this carving, nice edges, nice feathers. Try on the end up here. You don't have as much control, but it's still sharp. Ooh, that wind's going good. So let's chop that off. Let's try something else. Got my old standby laying on the ground for 4 or 5 years now, fat wood. Let's just see if we can scrape some of that off. Using the little notcher, the little chopping knots on the back. You can see that. It's actually a really good job. Well, you know what's next here, right? So, absolutely no play whatsoever. Even hitting it sideways, shouldn't hit it that way, but let's see. All right, so got a little Exotech ferro rod here. Let's just see this thing will strike a You're doing it wrong, Brian. You got to pull it. You got to pull it. Whatever. Let me just show you how Brian does it. There we go. That's the way Brian does it. So we got a fire. What about the scientific testing now? Okay, well, that was the practical testing portion of the review here. And I got to say, this thing did pretty well. Had an excellent edge. This thing carved really good. This grind is very usable on this. Good for batoning. The survival kit is functional. Anyway, you may know here also, though, that at Survival on Purpose Worldwide headquarters, I maintain a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge knife testing facility. And one of the tests we always like to put every fixed blade through is a balance test at our balance, orientation, and rotation device. So let's see how this one fares. So I have whacked this thing about 3 times during the calibration process. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's got, you probably can't see it on camera, but it's got just a little bit of play in it. So after we finish the balance testing, we'll see if I can tighten these up. It doesn't appear to be getting any looser, but I got to get my calibration down. A little better. All right, we'll call that one balanced. We're gonna call this balanced, but it's got just a little bit of play in it now. But if I'm in a survival situation, I'm probably not gonna be testing the balance of the knife, just saying. So anyway, gotta say, I think this one has passed the test just like the other two. In fact, I think if I had to depend on one, this one would be one I could really feel good about trusting. I'm not sure, I'll let you know for sure after I check the wobble factor on it. But that is the Kizlyar Supreme Survival X. This one is in D2 steel. Again, this is available in AUS 8. And I know you're going to ask, right now the price of this knife on Amazon in D2 steel is about 190 bucks. In AUS 8, it's about 125. So a couple bucks more than the Harbor Freight model, but this one actually cuts. So that's always a plus with a knife to me. Anyway, so once again, thanks to the folks at Cass Iberia, who are the importers of Kizlyar Supreme, for sending me this so I could show it to you and so I could test it and bang the heck out of it. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. I put out a brand new video every Friday and every Saturday, and sometimes random videos throughout the week. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single one, I invite you to subscribe to my weekly newsletter at survivalonpurpose.com/subscribe. Or you can just click right down here, the little square with the knife in it. That'll take you there too. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.